We're looking for a kaolin mine, which operated from the 1800s to the early 1900s. And on the LiDAR map, I spotted two trenches that appear to have tailings at the end of them that, to me, indicates tunnels, adits. And there was a mention of this mine having tunnels driven to under the kaolin deposit to kind of determine the depth of the deposit, because it was mostly worked as an open trench. I think we can just cut into the woods here. Not really a trench, but like an open pit. And I think that flooded thing back there. Let's go in the woods here and see. I think that might be the mine over there. Oh, look, it's a mill. It's the foundation. Is that, oh my God, is that an old ore car? No possible way. Is that a wooden and metal skip car?
That's spectacular.
Oh my God. Let's see if it has wheels.
Let's see if it's got wheels. Or axle. An axle in it. What is this? This is definitely 20th century nails.
Yeah. And the inside's like some kind of like ductile metal, like zinc or something.
There's the bottom. Oh my God.
What's that iron rail there?
It's mine rail right there. Look at this. Here's, come in on this. Look at that.
Mm-hmm.
I think this maybe isn't at it. I think this actually might be. I mean, there's tracks going down here. I mean, there's a.
Oh, the tracks keep going?
Yeah, keeps going past the ore car.
Okay. So the adit would be down there?
I'm guessing this is the waste product when they were milling the kaolin, and they probably had a conveyor belt coming up here. So let's just see what. First of all, let's see what this is. Let's see what. Oh, look at this. I think this is it. This sand. Is that like a clay type sand? Let's see if it compacts.
Looks pretty
It kind of does. It kind of does.
First thing you came across was this tan colored sand. Honestly, it's sand. I think it's sand because the way you tell if it's clay is you can if you can roll a pill in your finger, you know it's a lot of clay, but it's not. It's just falling. It's very, very, very fine sand.
So it did say that up till about World War II, there was an old drag line still sitting out here. So I imagine that thing must have been like steam powered. There was probably a boiler, and that's why they were able to move such a massive amount of this soil to uncover the kaolin deposit. But I mean, we did find some sort of skip car.
You know what this is going to be for? This needs some. Yeah, this might be more like it. Let's see if it is more clay-like once I put water on it. Let's see if we can get a little water. There might be too much water. I'm not a potter. Oh yeah, look how sticky that gets. It just needs. I put too much. Maybe if I pull. Look, that's clay. That's it. This is it. It's when you wet it, it sticks like any other clay. And I mean, you could shape it and mold it once you get a little wet.
Oh yeah.
What do you think?
Yeah, it definitely holds its shape. They processed it right here on site, and then they made it into a slurry, and it was pumped into wooden pipes and pumped down to the train tracks right on the Housatonic River down on Route 7. That was pretty interesting. I mean, this was an important material. It looks like, okay, this is just sand, like a sandy clay. Okay, yeah, that's boring. Not as interesting as gold or copper. But this was very important material because this was the perfect material for casting at the blast furnaces. The iron needed to go into a mold to either form for pig iron, or maybe they were casting it into some very crude objects like maybe big kettles, or in some cases, maybe even cannons, like during the Revolutionary War. I know this deposit does not go back to the Revolutionary War. I think this was started in the 1860s. But, I mean, all of these materials for making iron were invaluable because during the Revolutionary War, we were able to cast cannons up here in northwestern Connecticut, And granted, they weren't the greatest quality, and a lot of them in the proofing process blew up. Probably more of them blew up than were actually used, but I mean, we were casting cannons to help win our independence, and that was all because of these materials, like this kaolin, sandy clay. Limestone was needed, or marble rather, as a flux. Of course, iron ore was found it was plentiful up here. And also another thing that was very plentiful, charcoal. Because look at this forest. This would have been primeval forest in the 1700s that would have just been felled acre by acre to provide the fuel for these hungry blast furnaces. And we saw evidence of that just coming over here. We found a charcoal mound, a round depression on the ground where they piled up the wood and let it lit it on fire, but let it smolder so that it would become charcoal and not burn up completely. So it feels like a very remote place today, but at one point this was a busy industrial site. Does it give a name?
No, it's just a little tiny swamp. Oh, great blue herring out there. See it?
Oh, yeah. Do another good trip.
Semi-successful?
Yeah,
No,
so
I think it's good.
yeah, it was very successful, but why? So, how does your beer suit the trip? Like, do you have a system that determines what you get after?
Yeah, but it reminds me of the swamp. Not the taste.
What did you
but
get, first of all?
How thick and how hazy it is. You can't look into the swamp. And it's like the lily pads.
It's actually the color of the kaolin, the orangey yellow color, and probably the same consistency.
Jeez, I don't know how. I don't know what we would. Well, I suggested Mike was a little bitter and sour because he didn't dig up the rest of the rail. So I suggested the sour beer for sourpuss.
Yeah,
face.
I know. I always have my regrets.
Yeah, so I think that would have been ideal, but Mike ended up going. And then he was thinking about going for the strong one to wash away his sorrows.
Yep.
But then what'd you end up going for?
I went with a rye PA.
Okay, so
it's really good. So my tradition is usually if we go underground and the mine dinner afterwards, I get an IPA, like the strongest IPA that is on the menu. But since we didn't go underground, I got something a little bit different.